Hi everyone, me again. Uh, you know I don't post many how to do things on here, but this is a little story about how I come to get the Tai Chi Studio originally in Wivenhoe. And it's really a case of sometimes having to have a leap of faith, because it was really weird how things happened. So what happened in 2002, we'd moved up here from London to Wivenhoe, and I was a London taxi driver at the time, and the plan was to go down to work like 3 days a week and stay at my son's in Ilford and have the rest of the time off sort of up here, you know, but we've been up here for, God knows, 3 months or something, and I hadn't done a day's work. Right? Luckily I had a little bit of money stashed away, and it got me through. Anyway, but it came up, the taxis have to have this annual service with the public carriage office in London. It usually costs an arm and a leg, right? You know, you wouldn't believe. Anyway, so I'm looking at it and I thought to myself, what's the point in doing this? What's the point in having this test done, you know? Because I'm obviously not going to go back. So I took it over to the garage across the road. I thought I'll have it MOT'd and then I can just use it as a private vehicle. Yeah. And anyway, I took it over there, and he came back with loads of things wrong with it. Absolute, you know, can I be bothered to do it? I might as well buy another car or something, you know. Anyway, so he said, "Shall I do it?" I says, "No." I says, "Just put the wheels back on and I'm away." So give me this. Off I went. Straight down into Colchester, there's a scrapyard down there. And you got to realise this taxi wasn't all that old really. And I took it down there and I just handed over the keys. There you go. I didn't even get any money for it at all, right? Nothing. Okay, nada. Right, I just left it there. And I must admit, walking back along the Wivenhoe Trail afterwards, I felt a fantastic sense of freedom that this monkey was off my back, you know, because I'd done it for 20 years and I'd hated every minute of it, really. The only good thing that come out of it, really, was I got quite good at golf, and that's about it, really. Okay, but anyway, so I'm walking back along the Wivenhoe Trail, wondering what I'm going to do next. No idea. And I'm walking up the high street, and I saw there's lots of shops were, you know, for rent. So I thought, I'll open a shop. So I phoned up the agent and arranged to meet. This lady come down. I met her at this place. For those, if you're interested, the place in Wivenhoe is right on the corner of sort of Station Road and things. It's I can't remember what it used to be called. I can't remember what it used to be called anyway. But I think it's a cafe now. I don't know. Anyway, so she took me in there and I'm looking around. I thought, yeah, it's quite nice. It was, you know. And she said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Well, I don't really know." I was thinking of the only two other things I knew was either a music shop, or maybe an art shop. You know, that's the only, I couldn't think of anything else. So she says, "Have you got a business plan?" Business plan? Oh, hang on. No, I haven't got a business plan. And she looks at me, almost shook her head in disbelief. Anyway, she says to me, "Well, I don't know." She says, what else can you do? Can you do anything else?" I said, "Well, I'm a Tai Chi instructor." I says, I instruct in London, you know, at Master Ding's place. She says, "I might have just the place for you," she said. So she took me round to Brook Street Business Centre around there, showed me this unit, and it was small. It was probably not a little bit smaller than this even. This isn't big. Okay, but I thought to myself, yeah, okay. I had a nice little place upstairs where I could do my art or music or whatever I wanted to do. So I took it, and to my amazement, it got quite successful. So that was how the Tai Chi Studio started, and after a little while I moved to another place in Great Bentley, which also proved to be quite successful because it was a bit bigger and I could get more people in. And then I made a fatal mistake. I didn't listen to my intuition really. I was just looking to save money, which is reckless. And I took this other place on, and it was big and it was cold and it was horrible. And I lost bucket loads of people. They all went. So I can't blame them. Okay. So I went back to the other place in Great Bentley, but unfortunately he'd lent it out. So he had another one, which I took, which was quite nice. But again, it was quite hard to eat. You know, it's quite hard to warm up in the winter. And that's how I ended up around here. Sorry. So, and this place, believe it or not, was an old stable. It was a wreck when I come round to see it. It was just ivy growing through the walls. You could see some of the stars through the ceiling. The floor was just rubble. And the farmer who runs the centre, I says, it's very nice, but I can't afford to do it. So he says, well, what do you want it for? And I told him. He says, okay. He says, I'll do it up for you. And he did, right? And didn't charge me a penny, although over been nearly 10 years now, more than that. He's obviously got his money back more than enough. So that's how Tai Chi Studio come about, and it was through that initial leap of faith. Now, because sometimes we don't do it, we just stay stuck where we are, and we don't take a chance. How many people do you know stick in jobs for years and years just so they can get a pension, which is fine, but they don't enjoy the job? I mean, if they was enjoying the job, that's different. Okay, but I'm very lucky to do a job that I really enjoy. I don't like some of the things that come with the job. Some of you know, I don't like all the business stuff and all that. But actually teaching, I love it. Anyway, so that's it. It didn't all work out perfect, may I say, like in the private side of life and that. Sadly, didn't sort of quite work out, but the Tai Chi Studio did, and I'm really glad it's here. So that's my little story. And I'm asking you, could you fancy taking a leap of faith? Just do it, and see what turns up. You'd be amazed sometimes.